we can translate it. No, doesn't matter.
Yeah, absolutely.
Bueno, es un gusto, estamos en Colombia en vivo y en directo, 8:30 de la mañana, tenemos a un equipo de expertos que va a hacer una presentación sobre escenarios futuros. Les damos la bienvenida y esperamos que todo salga muy bien. En Alemania, ¿quién nos está copiando?
Guten Abend, meine Damen und Herren. Ich freue mich ganz herzlich, Ihnen heute in der Tagesschau eine außergewöhnliche Berichterstattung senden zu können aus unserem Zukunftsstudio.
Tenemos más público en México también. En México son las 9:15 de la mañana. Esperamos tener unos 40 millones de mexicanos observando esta presentación.
Estamos aquí desde México en el Behavioural Noticias y tenemos un grupo de expertos en escenarios futuros y esperamos que nos den una buena idea about them.
Okay, cool. We have some people from the group.
Καλησπέρα κυρίες και κύριοι. Σήμερα είμαστε σε σύνδεση με το Ρότερνταμ, όπου κάποιοι ειδικοί για μελλοντικά σενάρια θα μας αναλύσουν πώς αυτά εξελίσσονται και τι πρέπει να κάνουμε.
Okay, perfect. We are right now in Rotterdam. We are welcoming you. We are 30 past 12. And we have a group of experts that we explain as some visions about future scenario. The first one is a group that is elaborating something about future building constructions in 2025, and he will give us some interesting insights about buildings in Rotterdam or in general in Europe in 2025. Floor is yours.
Thank you very much. I will begin by presenting our collage that explains the process, the thought process that we went through. So basically, if you want to envision what the vision of the built environment and the building is going to be in 2025, we started with the main actors, and we said to explain this, we began with the people. So the people, us, everyone, are the main actors, are the main drivers. And we said, what are the effects which are happening to these people? Well, the biggest thing that we see in our urban environment is scarcity. So scarcity, the mechanism that drives that is a financial mechanism. What it means for us is fewer resources, land costs more, apartments cost more, all sorts of resource scarcity. So that has an effect on us. Some of the external factors are here, but what happens is when you have scarcity, that's going to drive change. I'll just elaborate on the external factors. Basically climate change, densification, fossil fuels, increased age expectancy. These are also having an effect, but the main effect is scarcity. And this drives change. So we said there's two possible types of change. There could be behavioral change, or there could be technology change. In our point of view, behavioral change may be a willingness in the future to live with more people. Living in a building where you now share a flat with 5 or 6 people. This is a behavioral change that responds to scarcity. There could also be technology change. This means using more communication technologies to work rather than driving a car and traveling a larger distance to work. So these two types of change will support the people's response to scarcity, and then we try to basically include this along with the external factors in our vision of what the future building is going to be. So to respond to all of this, we see a future building which would be flexible, which would be modular, which would be integrated in the way that it could integrate different working conditions, but also people of different age groups, and also basically leading to a built environment that will be multifunctional. And this is our vision of the building in 2025.
Thank you very much for the presentation. Now we are opening our call center. If you want to ask some questions, please let we know. And for now, we have some questions from the experts.
Yes, hello. Thank you for your presentation and for the scenarios. One clarification, you said that there are going to be changes in behavior, but also in the technology. Can you anticipate, are they both going to happen at the same time? Is it one more important than the other? How does it influence? So maybe you can say something about the relation between these two types of changes.
Sure. In my personal opinion, I think behavioral change is actually the more significant component. We are already in an era of technology. Technology is abundant. We have all sorts of technologies available to us. It's more behavioral change to either apply these technologies or to make other types of changes in our life, is my personal opinion. So, for example, using Airbnb. This is more the technology, communication technologies are available, we use them everywhere, but to actually use something like Airbnb, which is a resource efficiency tool, is more personal behavioral change. You need to be willing to do it, you need to accept it, and be okay with that type of lifestyle. So I think behavioral change is the one that we need to push further and takes a little bit longer. We already have technology, most of it.
Thanks. Studio, do we have some polls? Someone? Okay, perfect. The second expert can ask something, please.
My question is about what you consider what the people, because the people that are going to really suffer scarcity are the ones that have lower incomes. But what about your vision for people with higher incomes that might not be willing to share an apartment? And now the trend that we have from now is that people with low incomes, singles, couples, they tend to live in really large houses for them. So how do you see the other part of the population that have the access to more resources?
So how do we see the people who are at the upper end of the pyramid?
Yeah.
Well, as we said here, the driving force was scarcity. It's presumable that people at the upper end of the pyramid feel the effect of scarcity a little bit less. It's presumable that the working class, the middle class, feels the biggest effect of scarcity. So at the upper end of the pyramid, these individuals may not be forced to change through this same process. They may choose to change. People who have available disposable income may choose to adopt certain technologies which are more expensive that a working class could not, but otherwise they may not feel the effect in the same way.
Thank you very much. I'm still expecting some questions from the studio. Okay, we are going to thank you very much for your presentation, and we are going for the second team of experts that will present us a big panorama about building environment and constructions in 2020. Okay, here we are. Time is morning TV, and can you please present yourself?
Hello everyone. We are representing group 2, and our group just faced an incredible problem that all the people, this lady representing all the people in the planet, and the planet itself representing through these birds, are really having kind of a really weird relationship, and we decided to solve this problem somehow. And how we are nowadays doing with solving all the problems by using the machines. So to use the machine, we really have to press this button, and we decided that they have to get engaged with each other. So my colleague now will tell what does it mean.
Yeah, so how do we get the people back together to the planet? Because that's the basic problem that we face in our society. And our housing concept would include that we use more recycling products and waste materials in the fabrication process of new houses. What we also think of is a certain type of flexibility that is needed, because people are different and have different ideas about where they want to live. And this one is exactly what we want to have in a modular approach. Also, what is very important is renewable energies. We have to go away from fossil fuels. We are not knowing how expensive fossil fuels are in the future, so we want to go for solar energy. Storage technology, also locally, will be a major point in our concept. Then also getting the planet back to our housing environment. We want to get it green again. We want to have more trees. We want to have like plants, vegetables, everything in our gardens. And the future will be also like a multicultural, a multi-generation environment where several generations live in the same place. So so the community aspect will play a very important point. Yeah, and apart from that, we will be more mobile, so the infrastructure has also to be improved. People have to be connected not only to the city center, but to the world, because in a more global world, we have to be very well connected with trains, with flights, with airports, to other parts of the world.
And to conclude everything, also in every family we have to understand that all the people are different, but with love, flexibility and understanding that all people are different and they have to have a common space and a private space a little bit, I think we can achieve the good marriage for people and the planet. Thank you all.
Do you have some feedback or questions from
Yes, thank you very much for this future scenario, which I think it's a nice one and quite optimistic in the sense that it will make maybe a nicer society to live with. I would like to ask you about the recycling idea. I think it's very good, but do you already have, let's say, an idea how would that work? So would it be in a more international level, in a national level, in a local level, in a do-it-yourself level, so like every person recycles their own trash, or do you have an idea about it?
So the recycling idea has several dimensions. The first dimension is that we want to use recycled materials. That means, for instance, materials that we use to renovate our house should be, for instance, like recycled plastic, so materials that have already been used, and we want to press it in a shape, like on a wall. That could be also modular, as we proposed within the house. So plastic is light, so we can use that, for instance. And then, of course, within the community, but that would be much more regional, we also have this recycling environment, reusing water, for instance, because the water that we would need for showering, is now simply like put in a water treatment system, like in your city. But you could reuse that, for instance, to flush your toilet and so on. And we also think about those systems that could be also like not only in your house, but in the community used together.
And bringing it back together, also the waste in one country that has too much surplus can be also transported to another country, and this way we can achieve the global exchange of materials, not waste.
Okay, thank you very much. I'm still wondering if in the studio we have some questions. Apparently not yet. And it's time for another round of questions from the experts.
So I would like to ask you, what would be the role of the technology, the current technology, and the future technology in your future scenario?
Thank you very much for the question. Well, we were discussing also in the different levels. So technologies can be applied on every stage. We were thinking about that even for the human life, for the human activities, where you can use sensors to turn light on, to turn light off, to save actually the energy. Or, for example, technologies can be used in the application of the different materials when they can change the phases, expand, reduce, allow solar light, decrease solar light. So actually the technologies are, if really globally thinking about that, they can be applied on every stage.
Thank you very much. Thanks for this interesting presentation. We are going to elaborate a little bit more with the third group. Big applause for you. Thanks. And we still have some room for questions in the studio if you want. No. Okay, cool. And next round to have a short presentation about future scenarios and building environment 2025. Well, welcome.
Hello everyone, we're from Group 1, and this is our vision of the situation in which our house will be in 2025. So first, our main focus is on the actors which inhabit our house, and we expect that our inhabitants are going to be quite diverse. So on the one hand, we have this happy family with 6 kids. Let's not forget that the overpopulation is still upon us, and they're nice people. They heard about climate change, but they still want to live their life the way they were before. They still want to load their gadgets at max and travel and enjoy their life. And on the other hand, we have this old single hippie dude who's quite aware of climate change, but most of what he does is just complaining on the forums. Obviously, there is not much communication between these two groups, so which is symbolized by that role. So this is one of the challenges what we want to solve in our house, to make sure that these two groups communicate, because they can benefit a lot from each other. This is a challenge which is coming mostly from the inside. Of course, there are also external changes, like the climate-related stuff. Our house needs to provide the protection from all the challenges coming from the outside world. If there's too much sun, there needs to be protection against sun. If there's too much rain, there needs to be protection against that. If there's too cold, the house needs to protect us. Apart from that, there are stuff like insecurity, prices on energy which are growing. What else? I don't know. Apart from that, we see all this stuff which is outside of pollution, of course. So these are all the challenges that we need to take into consideration when we design our house of the future. Apart from that, you can see that there's a lot of stuff outside of the house. All this prosperity is going to become scarce. So it would be nice if our building of the future would provide the solution to compensate for this scarcity. Anything else? Oh yeah, of course, this communication between people.
Let him talk. We still have one more page.
I can add a little bit. So our house should behave like some kind of ecosystem where all the where you can grow everything. Oh, and we have of course this beautiful picture which is now just behind, because we have a nice visual representation. But we only have technical problems, so we're working on it. There it goes. So we did a small glance into the future, and here you can see how this this ecosystem can look like. So you have your own private space where you can live with your own family, and you have this comfort areas and these social areas where you can where you have the opportunity to talk with your neighbors. You have this well, the garden where you can grow your own food, and that was what the hand was about. So the hippie, although we don't all think he's not useful for anything, but he can grow his food and gives it to his neighbors who are more so that was what we tried to say. Thank you.
Thank you very much for the presentation. Please elaborate a little bit more about this communication process between one type of actor and the other type of stakeholder. This how the building will provide the platform to do these kind of things, this kind of communication process.
Are you already told about the solution that we need to provide?
No. Well,
okay, well, at least there needs to be some common space where they all should and be forced to be together.